Welcome back to the Smith Talks, everyone. That's right, for the first time in 2026, we are back on the second channel, which also means it's the first episode of Real Talk in 2026. We only left this channel dormant for about 6 months this time rather than 15, like I did last year when I first finally came back. So the topic of today's episode is the final word in the title to my favourite Madness song. It must be what? It must be love. Yes, that is the topic for today's video. We're back to talking about relationships. Funnily enough, I've not actually done a video in about 4 years about relationships. I guess technically you could count the pros and cons of having children video from last year, but that was more about being a parent rather than the relationship between the parents. So I don't count that. 2022 was the last time I made a video like this. And the reason I know why I came up with this idea is because of something that happened at the end of 2025 for me. So you guys may or may not remember that in 2019, I really, and I mean really, fancied my now good friend Ash. I talked about this in my 2019 year in review video. And I've also mentioned it since. So, back in 2019, I was very much infatuated with her. I wanted to be around her as much as possible. And the two of us, basically, we got on really, really well, as we still do. We have multiple of the same interests, as we still do. And, of course, she'd just been dating David, and well, we all know how that went. If you don't know how that went, well, it looks like you weren't here when I've talked about it in the past. But I was originally planning and calculating when would be the right time to ask her out. I originally thought maybe should I do this at Manchester Comic Con 2019, but then I thought against that idea because imagine you ask someone out at a convention and she says no. Well, you've ruined the convention for yourself, but you've also ruined the convention from the person you just asked out for the rest of the day. Ash didn't even end up going to that convention anyway, so I couldn't have done that even if I still wanted to. And in August of 2019 is when she said no. And basically from that point on, I thought that, to me, if the most perfect and ideal person, in my eyes, if even she says no, then nobody will ever say yes. That was how I thought about it. I thought that if she's going to say no, who the hell is ever going to say yes? So from August 2019 up until December 2025, so over 6 years passed between these events, that event and what I'm about to tell you. So, December 2025, I had become more familiar with this girl that I first met at the end of November of 2025. I became more familiar with her throughout December as I saw her on a weekly basis. And basically I was like, I mean, when I first met her, I didn't think much of it. But each week passed when each time I saw her, I thought, let's just say, the downstairs department, if you know what I mean, was sending some of the old signals from down there all the way through my body up into here, telling me that, yes, you do indeed fancy this girl. You like her a lot. So yeah, that's so I came to the realization around the second week. I mean, yeah, I'd only seen her. I'd only known her 2 weeks, and I first started fancying her. Wow, that looks like that hasn't changed for me. I do that. That's something I've done fairly often. But my big problem when it comes to any time that I fancy a girl is I try way too hard and try to do things way too fast. I don't slow down and think about how I should properly approach these things. So I was going to make sure this time that's exactly what I did. So I'm fairly certain the girl that I really fancy has no clue that I fancy her. I'm pretty sure she has no idea, because I didn't really do anything to make it obvious. I didn't do anything that would give her an inkling that I do like her a lot. But unfortunately, while I was talking with her, she decided out of nowhere to drop an absolute bombshell on me. What was the bombshell? That she already has a boyfriend. So I can't even think of trying. There's no even point to trying, because I've already lost before I've even started. And she told me this literally just before Christmas as well. That week you might as well have called me Jack Skellington, because it was certainly my nightmare before Christmas. So yeah, it really sucks that she already has a boyfriend, because I was planning on how to approach this a lot slower than I have in the past. In the past, I've just gone full steam trying to figure out everything all at once, instead of taking it slow and taking things step by step. Because the thing is, I was planning on asking her out on a date quite around this time, but obviously I ain't going to be doing that, because the answer would obviously be no. Thing is, she even gave me a little bit of hope, because she basically said something that would get my hopes up. Even though the thing she said to me, I've trained myself not to read too much into that, because any time a girl has said something like this to me in the past, I have read too much into it, and it's not ended up going well. So this time round, I made sure not to read into it, but just to keep a note of it. And funnily enough, I haven't actually seen her since. I haven't seen her since she dropped the bombshell on me that she already has a boyfriend, so that sucks. If there's anything that this has taught me, it's that I'm not incapable of feeling like this way about someone, like I thought I was after Ash said no to me back in 2019. Because after that, I'd basically just fully checked out of the dating scene, market, whatever you want to call it, as in not even thinking of ever even trying to go back into the dating scene. Not even thinking of bothering to try anymore. Because in my eyes, I was feeling that if the absolute perfect person says no to me, in my eyes says no, then no one will ever say yes to me. And even though that's so far still proving true, like if I did ask this girl out, she would also say no, so that wouldn't have changed. But all it has taught me is that I can feel this way about someone again. And since I can feel this way about this girl, I can probably feel this way again about somebody else in the future. That's basically what this whole experience has taught me. Now, would I say I was in love with this girl? No. I'd say whatever the step down from that is, that's where I was. I mean, if she wasn't already dating someone and I asked her out and she said yes and we started spending time together, would I have maybe fallen in love with her then? Probably. But we'll never get to that stage, so that will never happen. Yeah, I guess the first episode of Real Talk is less of a video for you guys and just more of a video for me to get this off my chest. Has it made me any more feel any more positively about the miracle of there being somebody out there for me to actually happen? Yes, but only by about 0.2%. It's an extremely marginal increase in my expectation and hope. Because over the 6-year gap between Ash and this girl, I've seen plenty of girls over the past 6.5 years that have been very attractive. Doesn't mean I've ever even had the thought of wanting to be with them, because I haven't. Maybe my strategy isn't what is wrong. Maybe I should go for as many as possible and see what works. But that's just not the type of person I am, and it's never going to be, so I'm never going to try that strategy. And that is all I have for you for the very first episode of Real Talk in 2026. Less of a video for you guys, more of a video for me to just get off my chest. But maybe some of you guys are in this have been or are currently in this type of situation where you really like someone and then they drop the absolute bombshell on you that they're already dating someone. But yeah, that is gonna do it for the first episode of Real Talk in 2026. I have 2 more Real Talk episode ideas in my mind, so hopefully it won't be a great deal of time until those are posted. But that's going to be the end of the video. If you have enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. And until we meet again, I'll talk to you in the next one.